Story Time with Chicago Public Library. My name is Miss Lisset, and I work with Chicago Public Library. I am bilingual. That means that I speak both Spanish and English, two languages. So I will be doing the story time in two languages, in Spanish and in English. So first, let's greet each other. Nos vamos a saludar. Let's start by singing a song that says hola, which is hello in Spanish. Hola, 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 ¿cómo estás? Yo muy bien, ¿tú qué tal? Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Yo muy bien, ¿tú qué tal? Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? Yo muy bien. Vamos a comenzar. Okay, so today I am going to start with a book called My Name is Celia. Me llamo Celia. This book is about a singer named Celia Cruz. You might have heard of her before. Maybe your parents or your grandparents listen to their music or sing her songs. I want you to pay attention to the places where she lives, and she mentions a few countries. You might know what a country is, or you might have heard the name of a place. So I want you to pay attention to that. Okay, in this book, The Life of Celia Cruz, La Vida de Celia Cruz, it was written by Monica Brown. That's the author of the book. And the illustrator is Rafael Lopez. That's the person that drew the pictures in the book. Sugar, my voice is strong, smooth, and sweet. I will make you feel like dancing. Close your eyes and listen. My voice feels like feet skipping on cool, wet sand, like running under a waterfall, like rolling down a hill. My voice climbs and rocks and dips and flips with the sounds of congas beating and trumpets blaring. Boom, boom, boom beat the congas. Clap, clap, clap go the hands. Shake, shake, shake go the hips. I am the queen of salsa, and I invite you to come dance with me. Azúcar, mi voz es intensa, suave y dulce. Te dará ganas de bailar. Cierra los ojos y escucha. Mi voz se siente como unos pies que resbalan en el área mojada, como correr bajo una cascada, como bajar por una loma. Mi voz trepa y se mece y sube y baja al ritmo de las tumbadoras y el sonido de las trompetas. Boom, boom, boom. Suenan las tumbadoras. Las manos aplauden y las caderas se menean. Yo soy la reina de la salsa y te invito a bailar conmigo. I was born in Cuba, an island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. My Cuba was the city of Havana. Our family had a warm kitchen filled with the voices of women and men, grandparents, brothers, sisters, cousins, and friends. We ate rice, beans, and bananas and filled our bellies with love and warm coffee with milk and lots of sugar. In the evenings, I would help my mother put the younger children to sleep by singing them soothing, sweet lullabies. Nací en Cuba, una isla del Caribe. Mi Cuba era La Habana. En mi casa teníamos una cocina acogedora, llena de las voces de mujeres y hombres, abuelos, hermanos, primos y amigos. Comíamos arroz, frijoles y plátanos, y nos llenábamos la barriga con amor y café con leche, bien caliente y mucha, pero mucha azúcar. Por la noche ayudaba a mi madre a acostar a mis hermanos chiquitos, cantándoles canciones de cuna bien bajito. My father worked long and hard on the railroad, but loved coming home to us each day. He would sit in the backyard and sing with us. He gave us the gift of his music and filled our hearts with hope. Sometimes, when I would sing with my father, the neighbors would hear the sound of my voice and walk over to listen to my melodies. We may have been poor, but music cost nothing and brought joy to us all. Mi padre trabajaba muy duro en los trenes, pero se sentía feliz cuando volvía a la casa cada día para estar con nosotros. Se sentaba en el traspatio y cantábamos todos juntos. Nos dio el regalo de su música y llenó de esperanza nuestros corazones. A veces, cuando yo cantaba con mi padre, los vecinos oían mi voz y se acercaban a escuchar mis melodías. Éramos pobres, pero la música no costaba nada y nos alegraba. My papa wanted me to become a school teacher, such an important job. At school, I learned and grew. I studied history and art, math and science, and even music. I did well in school, and I loved to sing. When I sang, my body would fill with the rhythms of Africa and mix with the Spanish sounds of my Cuban mother tongue. Finally, one of my favorite teachers took my two hands and said, "Go out into the world and sing, my child. You will be known across the land. Your voice is a gift from above and must ring sweet in the ears of our people." Mi papá quería que yo fuera maestra, que tuviera un buen trabajo. En la escuela aprendí mucho y maduré. Estudié historia y arte, matemáticas y ciencias, y hasta música. Me fue bien en la escuela y me encantaba cantar. Cuando cantaba, mi cuerpo se llenaba de los ritmos africanos mezclados en el idioma español de mi patria. Un día, una de mis maestras preferidas me agarró la mano y me dijo, "Sal al mundo a cantar. Mi niña, te harás famosa. Tu voz es un regalo del cielo y sonará muy dulce en los oídos de la gente." My cousin, Nenita, and I would travel far on the bus so I could have a chance to sing in competitions. Even though some people would not let me sing in their contests because of the color of my skin, I did not let this stop me from making my voice heard. I promised myself that I would keep singing and studying no matter what. Mi prima Nenita y yo hacíamos viajes largos en omnibus para que yo cantara en concursos. Aunque algunos no me dejaban cantar en sus concursos por el color de mi piel, no me di por vencida. Me prometí que seguiría cantando y estudiando, pasara lo que pasara. I was still a young woman when a revolution began in my country. Like many others, I left my Cuba forever. First, I traveled to Mexico. Then I traveled to the United States with my husband, the trumpeter, Pedro Knight, and our musical group, Sonora Matancera. Todavía era joven cuando triunfó la revolución. Como hizo mucha gente, me fui para siempre de mi Cuba. Primero fui a México, después viajé a los Estados Unidos con mi esposo, el trompetista, Pedro Knight, y nuestro grupo, la Sonora Matancera. New York, my home with the lights and people, a blend of many cultures and traditions. From my window, I saw the lights and heard the music, and I was the light and the music. Though I left my island and became a United States citizen, I carried my people in my heart. My songs were a gift to all those Cubans who left their island and all the children of the Americas. Boom, boom, boom! The sounds of the congas and the trumpets returned to me. Nueva York, mi nuevo hogar, con todas sus luces y su gente, con una mezcla de tantas culturas y tradiciones, Desde mi ventana veía las luces y escuchaba la música. Y yo era la luz y la música. Aunque me fui de mi isla y me hice ciudadana de los Estados Unidos, yo llevaba a mi pueblo en el corazón. Mis canciones eran un regalo para todos los cubanos que dejaron su isla y para todos los niños de las Américas. Boom, boom, boom. Regresaban los sonidos de las tumbadoras y las trompetas. Miami, my home away from home. One day in a restaurant, a young waiter asked me if I wanted sugar in my coffee. Sugar? I said. How could he even ask? I am Cuban. Yes, with sugar. And when I sipped the milky sweetness, I was back in my mother's kitchen with my friends and family. From that point on, when I walked out on stage, I would simply say sugar, and they would know exactly what I meant. Home and love and lots of kisses. The audience would bring their hands together and welcome me. Miami, mi segundo hogar. Un día en un restaurante, un camarero joven me preguntó si quería azúcar con el café. ¿Azúcar? Exclamé. ¿Cómo se le ocurre preguntar eso? Yo soy cubana, claro que sí, con azúcar. Y cuando tomé un poquito de café dulce, recordé la cocina de mi madre con mi familia y mis amigos. Desde ese momento, cuando entraba al escenario, simplemente decía azúcar y ellos sabían exactamente lo que yo quería decir: hogar, amor y muchos besos. El público aplaudía y me daba bienvenida. I sang with my friends, Tito and Johnny and Willie, and people loved our music. Together we brought a new music to the Americas, salsa, a music that blended rock with rumba, mambo with jazz. People loved to dance and swing to our music. Shake, shake, shake went their hips as they laughed and danced. Yo canté con mis amigos Tito, Johnny y Willie, y a la gente le encantaba nuestra música. Juntos trajimos una nueva música a América, la salsa, una música que mezclaba el rock con la rumba, el mambo con el jazz. A la gente le encantaba bailar y girar con nuestra música. Meneaban las caderas mientras se reían y bailaban. Teachers and presidents honored me, and all because my song sounded like the waves of the ocean hitting the roof of my mouth, like the streets of Havana, like my mother's kitchen, like a tummy full of beans and banana and rice, like a cup of warm coffee with sugar. They named me the Queen of Salsa, and I wore that crown proudly. Me rindieron honores maestros y presidentes, y todo porque mis canciones eran como las olas del mar, golpeándome el cielo de la boca, como las calles de La Habana, como la cocina de mi madre, como una barriguita llena de frijoles, plátano y arroz. Como una taza de café caliente con azúcar, me nombraron la reina de la salsa y llevé esa corona con orgullo. I crossed borders and broke boundaries because I was a survivor, and no one ever stopped me from singing ever again. My records turned to gold and silver, and streets and stars were given my name. Boom, 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 beat the congas. Clap, 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 go the hands. Shake, 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 go the hips. When we sing together, our words are like smiles flying across the sky. Come dance with me now, my friends. To the beat of the drums and the sound of the trumpets and the tropics. Even when I am gone, my music will live on. Crucé fronteras y rompí barreras porque fui fuerte y nunca más nadie consiguió que dejara de cantar. Mis discos llegaron a ser discos de oro y discos de plata. Y se los puse mi nombre a las calles y estrellas. Boom, boom, boom. Resuenan las tumbadoras, las manos aplauden y las caderas se menean. Cuando cantamos juntos, nuestras palabras son como sonrisas volando por el cielo. Amigos, vengan ahora a bailar conmigo al ritmo de los tambores y el sonido de las trompetas y trópicos. Aunque yo ya no esté, mi música seguirá viviendo. Azúcar, sugar. Okay. So Celia Cruz, she was a singer from Cuba. Did you hear when she mentioned her name? She was from Cuba. That is an island in North America. Can you cut this part out? And North America is where we live also. This is our continent, North America. Do you know any other continents? There is another continent right south of us, and it might be one that you know, and it's called South America. And it's right under us. And then there is ocean all around us, and if you cross the ocean, you reach Europe. And then right next to Europe is another continent called Asia. And right below Europe is another continent called Africa. More here. And we have Antarctica, which is all the way on the bottom of the earth. And it's very cold there. No one lives there. And then we have one more continent. This is Australia. It's an island right under Asia. So Celia Cruz, she mentioned a few countries. She was born in Cuba, which is right under North America. It's a part of North America. It's an island right below Florida. Some of you might have been to Florida. It's actually not too far from Florida, but it's an island. That means it's surrounded by water. Then Celia Cruz, she had to leave her country. So she moved to Mexico. Some of you might have heard of Mexico. Maybe you've even been there. And Mexico is right here. It's actually right under where we live, called the United States. And after Celia Cruz moved to Mexico, she moved again. And she didn't say exactly, she did say what country. She moved to the United States, and then she mentioned 2 cities in the United States that she moved to. She mentioned New York and Miami. Maybe some of you have been to those cities before. And they are in the United States, as we mentioned here. So Celia Cruz sang a type of music called salsa. Salsa requires, a lot of different instruments, and there are many types of music that sing in Spanish. So now we are going to sing, we're going to read about another famous singer that sang in Spanish and a little bit of English. So I want you to listen to the places that are mentioned and what type of instruments do you think are used to make this type of music? So let's listen to the next book. And this book is called The Life of Selena, La Vida de Selena. The author of this book is Patty Rodriguez. Start over. Okay. This book is called The Life of Selena, and the author of this book is Patty Rodriguez. That's the person that wrote the words in the book. And it has 2 authors, Ariana Stain. And they also drew the pictures. Selena Quintanilla was born in Lake Jackson, Texas. Selena Quintanilla nació en Lake Jackson, Texas. You see the map of Texas. The most important thing in her life was family. Lo más importante en su vida era la familia. Her true passion was music. Su verdadera pasión era la música. Big Bertha was the name of her bus. Big Bertha era el nombre de su autobús. Chris Pérez was her first love. Chris Pérez fue su primer amor. She adored her fans. Adoraba a sus admiradores. Her favorite food was pizza. Su comida preferida era la pizza. During her career, she received many awards. A lo largo de su carrera, recibió muchos premios. To this day, Selena continues to bloom like a flower. Todavía hoy, Selena continúa brotando como una flor. Okay. All right. So, in Selena's book, we mention one place. It's called Texas. That's a state in the United States. So this is the United States. And Texas is in the southern part of the United States. So Selena, it doesn't really mention what kind of music she played, but she plays a different type of music called Tex-Mex. And some of her music also included cumbias. There are many different types of music. So if you remember, Celia Cruz, she played salsa. And it's not the same. You might have heard of salsa, like salsa that you put on your tacos or your food, but this is salsa music. It's a little bit different. So now, let's see if we can see some of the instruments that are played. So if you remember, Celia Cruz, she talks about congo. So congos is a type of drum that's used to play rumba and other types of music. Hopefully you could see it. And then she also talks about who she married. She married her trumpeter, Pedro Knight. So he played the trumpet in her band. Here's the trumpet. And what else does she mention? She mentions a few other of her band members, but she doesn't mention what instruments they play. And then we also have Selena, and we also use different types of instruments for Selena's music. So here's a music note, which that's how people read music. That's how they know how to play their instruments and what rhythm and melodies to follow. And then we also have a guitar, which it was very commonly used in Selena's music. So Selena also married a member of her band. She married her guitarist, Chris Perez, who played the guitar. Okay? And if you haven't heard any of their music, I suggest you can ask your parents or your grandparents and ask them if they could play some of their music so you can become familiar with their songs. I want to say thank you everyone for coming, and it's time for us to say goodbye. So we're going to sing adios in español. Adiós, 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 hasta luego. Puedes aplaudir. Adiós, 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 hasta luego. Puedes aplaudir. Adiós, 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 hasta luego. Adiós.